part of our truth is embracing all of that like gross, murky stuff that we've all got. You know, Beyonce's got it. You know, Madonna's got it. All these people that we think have got it all sussed. Barack Obama, he's got it. Everybody's got it. All of these little bad, weird idiosyncrasies, whatever it is. We've just got to stop pushing it all away.
So Fearne, thanks so much for joining us for an Audible Sessions interview. You have a brand new book coming out called Speak Your Truth, which is super exciting. So I wondered if you could start by explaining what you wanted to say with the book, what you wanted to convey with it.
This book was really a chance to talk about experiences I've had where I've swallowed down words or not said what I'm really thinking. A lot of the time that's no, because I want to try and make everybody happy around me. So I'm like, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do that. And then I'm drained or at worst become resentful when I have to go and then do said activity or favour. And I think I just wanted to help other people realise they can also have the permission to either, whether it's say no or whatever their weakness is, with being honest. So that might be just not speaking at all when you want to and feeling quite trapped in situations, or maybe not even saying it, but just knowing what that truth is for you. I think so often we forget because we're just discombobulated by outside noise constantly, other people's opinions of us, other people's opinions of the world. And we forget what that truth is, who we really believe we are underneath all the stories we tell ourselves and the labels we give ourselves and the dynamics that we're in relationships. We forget what we really believe and really think. So it's kind of two things. It's rooting back to what our truth is, and also then getting the courage to say some of that stuff out loud.
And how do you go about trying to figure out or come back to what your truth is?
I think there's lots of different ways you can do it. There's one example I give in the book, which for me involves going back to childhood and thinking about what I was like as a kid. And like most kids, you know, if you've had a good stable or, you know, grounded upbringing, will be to seek joy, to have fun, to you know, express how you're feeling. Kids don't care if they shout and scream about stuff they're not happy about. Kids don't care if they're ridiculously excited about something in a crowd of people. They're just going with the emotions. And I think then we get kind of socially conditioned and start to, you know, trap all those feelings and we forget to express it. And I think as an adult, we forget about a lot of that, especially if you have a lot of responsibilities, if you're a parent, a carer, you have a job that's really all-consuming. You park all of that joy and all of those wonderful, fun things or hobbies that just make you feel really in the moment. So that, for me, certainly is one. But the other way that is obviously universally used the world over is getting really quiet. Whether that is with, you know, the more sort of classic sort of meditation or yoga practices. It could be going out walking, doing something where you just stop that constant mental rumination. And usually if we give ourselves enough space and silence to just get rid of all that, we kind of know. I don't necessarily think it always forms in like a clear sentence, this is my truth, but it's a feeling that we'll get. And it's an understanding that is omnipresent. But again, it just gets piled up with stuff and responsibilities and stories we've created around ourselves.
And do you think this topic is at all gendered? Like, do you think that women, for instance, might need more encouragement to not shrink parts of themselves and to really live their truth?
I think not always, but probably yes. We're one of the first couple of generations that have had the opportunity as women to do both, to be mothers, wives and breadwinners or workers or career women. You know, my nan certainly didn't have that option. There was so much more conforming to be done because the judgment was even more so then. So I do think we're still coming out of that and trying to figure out how we do all of this and how we stay sane. But there is a lot of pressure, I think, on modern day women to do it all and be the best and to look amazing and to have a voice, and it's just exhausting. And I think we need to all give ourselves a break, big time, because it's unrealistic.
Yeah. And when you think about all of those pressures and trying to, if you aim for a perfection in all of those, then it's no wonder you kind of lose a bit who you are, because that's a lot of energy to try and attain those standards that society has kind of put there.
There's this huge pressure, like we're talking about now, to be perfect, this horrible perfectionism that we're all meant to be aspiring to. And I'm not going to completely blame social media, because I really enjoy using it, but we all know that some of that comes from social media, and seeing these tiny snapshots of lives that look perfect and shiny and amazing, and like everyone's coping and like everyone is well, and that's not the truth, and we know that, but on a subconscious sort of subterranean level it still goes in, and we think we're failing. And what I had I guess I still do this to some extent, if I'm going to be really honest, if we're talking about truth, I still often try and cover up what I deem as like my gross bits. So my gross bits, which are when I'm lazy, when I cut corners, when I've gossiped about someone when I probably shouldn't have, when I've eaten some food that probably didn't make me feel great, when I've not bothered to do any exercise, when I've been, naggy at my kids or snappy with my husband, like all these little bits, which we've all got. There's nothing wrong with these bits. I try and sort of suppress them with this like exterior thing of perfection, like, oh no, everything's fine, my house, look how neat my house is looking, and look at my desk, it's all so neat and tidy, I must be coping really well. And I'm just pushing all these gross bits down. We're all going to have days, months, eras where we don't feel great. And if we stop allowing ourselves from feeling all that stuff and from experiencing the other side of life, which is integral for us to grow and learn and get resilience and have empathy and compassion, we're not a full human. We're living this like weird fantasy human experience. I think we need to embrace all of it, the good bits, the ugly bits, the bad bits, and be really honest about all that, so that our friends and our family go, oh God, that's how I was feeling as well. Or, oh God, I do that, don't worry about it. We need that connection. So that is also part of our truth, is embracing all of that like gross, murky stuff that we've all got. Beyonce's got it, Madonna's got it, all these people that we think have got it all sussed. Barack Obama, he's got it. Everybody's got it. All of these little bad, weird idiosyncrasies, whatever it is. We've just got to stop pushing it all away and just like let it up when it comes up and go with it. I think that's such a big part of it.
And there's also stuff that's sort of about career and ambition and things in this book as well. And one of the things you say is about picking kind of the scarier, unknown truth over maybe habit, which I think is really important. And I think particularly now when we're also used to being at home, it's even easier to pick habit. But I wonder how you sort of balance those things, which are really brilliant and help yourself grow, with kind of comfort and that kind of that space where you feel really safe.
I'm really interested in looking at when you've put yourself in a comfortable place because you know that you need nurturing and to be kind to yourself, versus totally retreating from life. I don't think there's anything wrong with retreating from life, because sometimes we really need to, but I think when you've gone in and you've stopped putting yourself out there at all. And again, this is a very bespoke thing. Who am I to tell anybody what their own balance is? But I know for me, there are certain things still, and it might not be in the future, but at the moment, there are certain situations I could put myself in where it will trigger a panic attack, and I don't really want that at the moment. So I don't put myself in those places at the moment. Down the line, I might. I started doing EMDR therapy last year, which I'm finding really helpful. Maybe that's going to be one of the things that will get me to a place where down the line I can push myself a little bit further if it feels right. But maybe it won't. And again, that's okay. I think we have to just get quiet and go, what is that tipping point for me? What is too much that's going to send me into feeling awful? Because no goal reached, no ambition is worth feeling terrible, drained, having ill physical health, having panic attacks, stress, whatever, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So I think you have to look at what your own personal limits are, and only you will know that.
And this book in particular, I feel like really lends itself to audio. It's like the narrative of it and things like that. How did you find narrating it?
I find doing the audio book a healthy challenge, I would say. It's like you're reading your diary aloud. It's terrifying. And I always get a real burny sensation in my throat, which I think's really good, because it's like you're sort of exorcising all this stuff that you've thought and said, and it's coming out. You're not harbouring these feelings. You're not clinging on to it. You're sort of like, this can go now. This can be released. I can let it out, whether people like it or don't. I've been through a really cool full circle process. And I think it's a good thing to do at home, have thoughts, write them down, say it out loud. Like, it's a different thing saying it out loud. And I underestimate it every time. And I get in that booth and I go, oh my God, this is insane that I'm reading this stuff. And it's more potent saying it out loud. I don't know what it is. It's something, it's just very powerful. It's all about venting stuff and not harbouring it physically and letting tension build and knots in your back or headaches or whatever. I learn that every time I do this and I have this process.
Yeah.
Say stuff out loud.
Love it. And do you think that this whole process of writing and then narrating the book, do you think it has helped you to find or re-find your voice?
I think it's helped, and there was a really lovely healing process in writing it and doing the audiobook, most definitely. But this is everyday stuff. So I probably will have to write about this again at some point. Maybe in 10 years I'll feel completely differently to how I did when I was writing Speak Your Truth. I might object to everything I've written, who knows? Or I might feel like I've actually mastered some of those things that I find very challenging now. I don't know. That's the lovely nature of, very honest books, that no human is going to stay set in what they believe and think forever. We're all changing every day and changing our minds, and that's also fine. So I think it was a lovely part of the healing process, and now I've launched off to really get to work on it all. So who knows what will happen next.
Well, Fearne, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to chat to you. I think the book is really revelatory in lots of ways. I think there's little bits that will resonate with lots of different people. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, that's very, very kind of you to say. And thank you for today.